7 in the morning, July 24th. Kirov, Russia. 1,200 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian soldier. A plant most people have never heard of takes a hit through the roof. Not the wall, the roof. Inside that workshop, Russia builds something it builds nowhere else. Something every Russian fighter pilot depends on to survive a bad day. By the time the smoke cleared, satellite imagery showed a hole roughly 21 by 24 meters where the roof used to be. This is the story of the missile that made that hole, a weapon built by a startup for about a quarter of what America pays for a Tomahawk. It's the story of why Ukraine stopped aiming at the front line and started aiming at the factories behind it. And it ends with something almost nobody predicted a year ago. A NATO government negotiating to build a Ukrainian strategic missile on its own soil. Let's start with the target, because the choice of target is the whole argument. The plant is called Avitek, formerly the Vyotka Machine Building Enterprise. Militarny and Defense Express both reported the same detail on July 24th. And it's the detail that matters. Avitek is Russia's only serial manufacturer of ejection seats for its combat aircraft. Not one of several, the only one. It builds, repairs, and modernizes the K-36DM seat, the seat under the pilot, in a Su-34 and in a Su-57. Think about what a single-source supplier means in a war economy. Russia has roughly 1,000 fighters and has lost somewhere near 100 of them over Ukraine since 2022. Every airframe that comes off a line, every jet that comes back from overhaul, needs that seat. There is no second factory to call. And ejection seats are only the part that makes a headline. According to Defense Express, the same plant produces 9 M334 missile modules for the Tor air defense system, and the 526M gas generators that start the turbofan engines on KH-101 cruise missiles and KH-59 tactical missiles. The KH-101 is the missile that arrives over Kiev apartment blocks at night. Its engine needs a part that, until July 24th, came out of a workshop in Kirov. Russian officials reported 6 workers killed and 26 injured. Ukrainian open-source accounts argued the toll inside the building was considerably higher, since no evacuation happened before the impact. That claim has not been independently verified, and we'll treat it as a claim. Now, the weapon. It's called the FP-5 Flamingo, and almost everything about it is unusual. It weighs 6 tons, it's 12 to 14 meters long, with a 6-meter wingspan. This is not a drone, it's an aircraft that flies once. It's pushed by an AI-25TL turbofan, the same family of engine that used to power Soviet trainer jets, and it cruises at around 900 kilometers an hour. Published range, 3,000 kilometers. Warhead, 1,150 kilograms. Hold that warhead figure. Where it comes from is the most Ukrainian detail in this entire story, and we'll come back to it. The manufacturer is Firepoint, a company that did not exist as a missile maker before this war. If the name sounds familiar, it should. Firepoint also builds the FP-1 and FP-2 strike drones that have spent this month burning holes in the decks of Russia's Shadow Fleet tankers. The same company, 2 product lines, 1 idea. Make the expensive thing cheap enough to use every week. Because that's the number that actually decides wars. A Flamingo costs somewhere around $500,000. A Tomahawk costs over $2 million. Ukraine is buying strategic reach at roughly a quarter of the going rate, and Firepoint has said it's aiming at a production rate in the low hundreds of missiles per month, up from a handful per day earlier this year. So, that warhead. Ukraine is not manufacturing 1,100 kilograms of new explosive for each missile. In many cases, it's bolting on a Soviet FAB-1000 bomb, or a Western equivalent, and letting the airframe carry it 3,000 kilometers instead of 40. Some variants are bunker busters, rated to punch through around 10 meters of concrete or earth. That is the whole philosophy in one sentence. The Cold War left a warehouse full of bombs, and Ukraine built wings for them. Before we go further, this is Fury Military. And this is what we do. Take one strike, pull the thread, show you the machine behind it. If you're getting value from this, hit subscribe. We publish breakdowns like this several times a week, sources on screen. Now, Kirov was not the first time. On the evening of February 20th, flamingos hit the Votkinsk machine building plant in Udmurtia, 1,400 kilometers inside Russia. Votkinsk is not a factory, it's a category. It's where Iskander-M ballistic missiles come from, and Kinzhal, and Yars, and the Oreshnik the Kremlin likes to talk about on television. Ukraine's general staff later confirmed the destruction of production workshop number 22, plus a hole about 30 by 24 meters in building 19, which houses the galvanizing and stamping shop. Zelensky's comment afterward was unusually plain for a wartime president. He said every missile launched reached the target and called it a real success for Ukraine's industry. Since then, the list has grown quietly. The Progress plant in Cheboksary, the Titan Barakati facility in Volgograd, where OSINT analysts counted 3 of 5 identified missiles striking the site, the best ratio recorded so far. By late June, the number of Flamingo impacts confirmed through open sources had reached 6. Then Kirov made it 7. And because we try to be honest around here, here's the part the promotional videos leave out. The Flamingo misses. A lot. Ukrainska Pravda's analysis of open-source data from March found 23 Flamingos launched, 6 that analysts could place near their destinations, and only 2 confirmed to have hit what they were aimed at. Independent write-ups have put the practical hit rate around a third against a paper accuracy of 14 meters. Firepoint itself has acknowledged the accuracy problem publicly, which is more than most defense companies manage. There's a second asterisk. The vast majority of launches simply never become public. No satellite photo, no Russian video, nothing. So the honest position is that the confirmed hits are a floor, not a score. We know the misses that got noticed and the hits that got photographed. The middle is dark, and the traffic runs both ways. Zelensky himself confirmed earlier this year that a Russian strike temporarily delayed Flamingo production. Russia knows exactly what this missile is, and it is hunting the plants that make it. The same logic pointed back. Step back from the individual craters, though, and the shape of 2026 becomes hard to miss. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense reports that deep strike operations hit 697 targets inside Russia in the first half of this year, with direct and indirect losses to the Russian economy estimated at no less than $6.1 billion. The unmanned systems forces put the increase in deep strikes at more than 1,000% year-on-year. In June alone, Ukraine struck 11 Russian oil refineries and at least 8 defense industry facilities, with roughly 4 dozen strikes on military-industrial sites in the first 6 months. The geography tells you as much as the count. Confirmed strike ranges now exceed 2,000 kilometers from Ukraine's border, reaching from occupied Crimea to western Siberia. As one Ukrainian summary put it, Russia no longer has a peaceful rear. That phrase deserves a moment, because it's the actual strategic effect. Every air defense battery pulled back to guard a factory in Udmurtia is a battery not shooting at Ukrainian drones over Donetsk. Every workshop that has to relocate is months of output lost without a single soldier moving forward. Ukraine cannot outproduce Russia, so it stopped trying and started subtracting instead. Which brings us to Germany. On June 11th, the Financial Times reported that Diehl Defense, one of Europe's serious missile houses, the company behind the IRIS-T systems currently defending Ukrainian cities, was in talks with Firepoint about producing the Flamingo on German soil. Diehl's chief executive suggested his company could supply a significantly more advanced seeker than the one the missile carries today, which is a polite way of addressing exactly the accuracy problem we just discussed. The context is uncomfortable for Berlin. Germany's planned purchase of American Tomahawks and the U.S. missile battalion that was supposed to come with it fell apart amid the political fallout between Washington and Chancellor Merz. Germany suddenly had a long-range strike gap and no American answer to it. So here is where the war has arrived. A country that 3 years ago was arguing about whether to send helmets is now negotiating to manufacture a Ukrainian strategic cruise missile, a weapon with roughly twice the reach of the Tomahawk it was meant to replace. If that deal is signed, it would be the first time a Ukrainian strategic strike weapon is built inside NATO's industrial base. The student became the supplier. None of this is settled. The talks are talks. The hit rate is still a third. Russia will disperse, harden, and rebuild. It always does. And Avitek's tooling can be replaced faster than its people can be. But watch 3 things over the next months. Watch whether Russia's Su-34 and Su-57 fleets show any dip in sortie rates or overhaul cycles. That's the honest test of whether one workshop in Kirov actually mattered. Watch the Diehl talks, because a signature there changes what Europe can do without asking Washington first. And watch Firepoint's production line, since a missile that misses 2/3 of the time is only a strategic weapon if you can afford to fire it 3 times. For now, the scoreboard reads like this: 7 confirmed hits, a plant that made the seat that saves Russian pilots, and a startup selling strategic reach for the price of a suburban house. The Kremlin spent 20 years building a defense industry it believed was out of range. It turns out, the range was the easy part. If you want to see the other half of what Firepoint builds, the strike drones that put 176 ships of Russia's Shadow Fleet under fire and shut the Kerch Strait, watch our breakdown on the blockade of Crimea. And subscribe to Fury Military, because the factories are the front line now, and we'll be tracking every hit.